Dave, what
What's going
happened, man? What happened to the Saints this week?
Whew, man, I got to watch most of it, and
Mhm.
I got at the very end. I saw that last play, man. I was actually at the airport. I had just got back from Dallas as well, and we came back. We fought. I think we started off really slow. I think slow start definitely killed us. Obviously, in the beginning, we had some drop passes. We started to find our rhythm.
Yep,
We utilized Mark Ingram a little bit more, which I thought was good.
yep.
And you know what, man? They caught us in man. Adebo is going to make rookie mistakes. I do think he's a big steal. Let me
Yeah.
clarify. I think he's going to be a big ball player for us. But Patterson made a hell of a play. He's got to be in the ranking for Offensive Player of the Year at this point. He's been making plays week after week after week, and
For sure.
Matty Ice, man, has been on fire. He's NFC Player of the month, and
Is he? Yeah. If Patterson doesn't get that, I don't know. Would it be most improved? Isn't that? I think that's an award, right?
yeah, it's definitely an award. I think that's going to go.
The
No,
Dak.
well, it's going to go to Dak, and then you're going to have Joe Burrow and a few
Yeah,
others.
one of those.
I think one
But
of
I
those.
mean, it was a tough loss, rivalry game. It was definitely a trap game coming off a 3-game winning streak. Last week's episode with Vincent and Mark, we said it, man. We said to not take the Falcons lightly, and we came out flat. They came out hot. At the end of the game, when you look at the stats, it ended up being a pretty balanced game, right? So the Saints had 376 total yards. The Falcons had 366. So really not an edge there. Yards per play were pretty much the same. One thing that stands out is the penalties, right? So the Saints had 10 penalties. The Falcons had 6 penalties. That's kind of something to look at. Both teams struggled on third down. The Saints were 3 for 10 on third down. Falcons 5 for 13. It's a weird one though, there were no interceptions. No interception this game.
I think most importantly, we didn't have an identity, but I do think that we really started to figure out how to play with Trevor towards, after halftime. But we didn't have an identity. That's really what it comes down to. We didn't know who we were, what to do. Obviously, we had some drop passes. Deontay had a drop pass. The other kid that we brought back, I think Kenny, he had a few of them. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
and I think that Trevor played pretty decent. I think we should have won that game. But once again, I think
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out who we were. And
Yeah, this new Saints offense, without Drew Brees, Trevor threw the ball 41 times. I don't think Peyton wants to do that. It was definitely, we were playing from behind. We had to get the ball down the field. You look at the Falcons, a little more balanced. Ryan threw the ball for 30 times. Patterson, man, 9 carries, 10 yards. We completely shut down their run game. But then he had 6 receptions for 126. And then it continues, you got Gage, 7 receptions, 64 yards. Zacchaeus, 3 receptions, 58, 2 touchdowns. It was tough. We knew the Saints would shut down the run game, but pretty efficient game from the Falcons right there.
And I thought we had some bright spots. I thought Cam Jordan played better the last 3 weeks after being shut out. I do think Davenport being back has helped him a ton.
Yeah.
We had a chance to win the game with Davenport with the strip right there, and nobody was there. You're talking about it could have been the biggest mistake from Mike Davis, I believe it was. But what a play by Davenport. We weren't able to capitalize.
Yeah, it's a bummer though. Like last week, I think Mark said it that he thought that the Saints would be able to get some pressure on Ryan, and we only ended up with 2 sacks. That was kind of depressing. I thought we'd be able to kind of.
But the sacks were big moments, Serge.
They were
big moments. And when we needed our defense the most, we stepped up. I love the Pete Werner 4th down stop. I thought that was big. He's been playing as a rookie. So I think that's exciting.
Well, good job, Falcons. It sucked that it happened in the Dome. The dome was popping though. It was almost at 95% capacity, so that's good to see. It's been a while.
The best part is, Serge, is that most of the teams in the NFC lost. So
Yeah. And the Bucks had a bye, so they didn't gain any ground.
we're still ranked. If you think about it, all of them essentially lost, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big, big, big area for us where we didn't lose any ground in the playoff race. Right now, I believe
because the Vikings lost.
Correct.
The Panthers lost. The Rams. I mean, because either the Rams or Cardinals are going to win that division. So
the Rams lost, correct.
Cowboys.
Cowboys lost. So we're in good shape. Right now, if the playoffs started, there would be 3 teams from the NFC South in the playoffs. We would be the 6th seed. Atlanta would be the 7th seed.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's put that one behind us. Huge matchup this week. Number 1 team in the AFC. We got the Titans at 7-2, 4-game winning streak, playing really good ball. The news today: Alvin Kamara will not be playing this weekend. Armstead is out. Gardner Johnson is out. My question off of that is this based on like a usage overload for Kamara, or is this just something is this something that we should be worried about long term?
No, I think this is just a nagging injury, man.
Yeah.
I don't believe so, and I think it's going to be great for him. I think it was super intentional with obviously bringing back Mark, but it was right after that 30-touch game where they brought back Mark, and I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. He's okay. So I remember watching the play where it happened, and he needs the rest. And you know what? I think that this could be a really good matchup. I know most people are really obviously we're the underdogs in this game, but I think that there's a lot of things that look, Adrian Peterson, if he does well, it's going to be in the red zone, right? I don't think he's obviously going to have a big game. I think you have Julio, and I think you have AJ Brown. One player that's been balling, man, he's in the top 10 cornerbacks for the year right now for PFF is Fulton from LSU.
Yeah, I think he's coming back this week.
He's been doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it is super concerning. This game is filled with injuries all across. For the Saints, no Jameis, no Alvin, no Michael Thomas. Arguably, top lineman. It's concerning for the Saints moving forward. I think it definitely took a hit losing to the Falcons, and then now without Alvin, we can look back on this at the end of the season and say that this 2-game stretch definitely hurt the Saints' chances. But there are some good things to look forward to, right? So the last time the Saints played the Titans on the road, they won. It was in 2019. The Titans have led the battle since really the last 20 years or so. They've won the last 4 or 6 games versus the Saints. So that's not good. But the Saints do have the fortune of not having to play against Derrick Henry. So on paper, advantage Titans, but maybe a little closer than that could suggest.
Yeah, I think that Sean lives for these types of games. I think he's going to get creative. I think they're going to use Taysom more. Taysom Hill didn't have any rhythm. I know he went 2 for 2 last week, but he didn't have any rhythm. I think we're going to utilize him.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see some swing passes with Taysom. They're going to utilize him at the tight end. I think you're going to see Taysom. I think this, if I could predict, I think this is going to be his breakout game for the year.
A big game for him.
Yeah.
One thing with the Titans, they beat the Bills, the Chiefs, the Colts, and the Rams recently. Do you have the Titans at the top of the AFC right now?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I would say, it's unfortunate that the Ravens just lost yesterday.
Flat. They came out flat. That was a weird game.
One thing I've been loving about Lamar, my brother loves Lamar Jackson. For me, it's always been like, is he a winner? I want to
Mhm.
think he's a winner. He's never been able to bring teams from behind, and he's been able to do that 3 or 4 times this year. So I think they're
Big time. Yeah.
a threat. Obviously Kansas City, I think could obviously do well. I think you have some young quarterbacks with Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow that if they get into the playoffs hot, I think they could do damage.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think Tennessee's good. I think that Cleveland's good, but uh, if I had to guess, what is it? So they got the AFC West, no AFC North, AFC East. I would say the Bills. I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC.
Still, yeah. That was a struggle. Another one, like, it's kind of similar to the Saints Falcons game, right? Like you get the Jags, you think it's going to be a win, and they ended up surprising the Bills. But it's humbling, and I think the Bills should bounce back nicely this week against the Jets. But all right, so now moving on to this game, obviously Derrick Henry's out. The Titans are going to be unleashing a trio of running backs. You got McNichols, AP, and Foreman. Last week's game was kind of weird. They didn't get utilized. I don't think we got a true test of what it's going to look like. But do you have one that I guess that the Saints should kind of be worried about, or is this something that the Saints should be able to handle?
The Saints have allowed one 100-yard rusher in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, Derrick Henry in 2019 didn't have 100 yards versus the Saints. I think that AP is going to be using first downs. I think that whoever gets some pass catches, I think that they'll do fine. Now, if I'm the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, I'm looking how they utilize Cordell Patterson. I just don't think they have a Cordell Patterson, right? So their running back is probably my least concern. I'm more worried about whoever's covering Julio. Obviously with Marshawn Lattimore covering AJ Brown, or if Marshawn covers Julio, who's going to cover today. So I'm really worried about that number 2 with the Debo and Bradley.
Me too. I agree with you. Obviously, I think you got to respect AP, especially in the red zone. I think he's going to have some opportunities. But based on last week's game, the Bucs game, it seems to be that number 2 receiver that we need to watch. So on this week's matchup, I'm more kind of timid on Julio. I have to agree with you there. If I had to pick someone that's probably going to have a good game, it's probably Julio. Just based on AJ Brown, I think you got to put Lattimore on AJ. You got to give him that respect. And then without Gardner Johnson, I could see some success from Julio. But the Saints should be able to definitely control this run attack.
We're gonna have to pressure the quarterback. Because obviously Davenport being back is gonna help, but CJ does such a good job of those blitzes at the nickel star.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to make up for that. We're gonna have to make up. We're gonna have to be creative. We might have to blitz a little bit with Malcolm a little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get creative.
Now on the other side, I know you touched on Fulton, the cornerback, but last week was kind of a shock. But it's been a couple weeks now in a row, with the Bills, the Chiefs, like I said. Is this Titans defense for real, or is it fake?
I think Harold Landry's having a great year. I think the kid that you build a team through the draft, man. Obviously the Rams don't think so, but you build a team through the draft, and you got Harold Landry who's developing to a blue chip player. You have the kid Jeffrey Simmons, the D tackle, who from Florida State, slipped in the draft. He probably would have been one of the top defensive tackles taken. Well, he but he had an ACL surgery coming out.
Yeah.
So I think you got Fulton. You have probably a top 2 defensive player of the year, and Bynard. Just been an absolute ball hawk over the last few seasons, and I have top 2 defensive player of the year right now.
That interception whenever he jumped that route was really nice.
Kelly studied, the game film. So I think any defense, Serge, that has 4 to 6 blue chip players is a problem.
Yeah.
And I think they have multiple blue chip players.
Yeah. They're definitely they got some confidence last week. They can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that they don't have to really worry about Alvin this week. Trevor's not going to take off and run the ball. So, I mean, it can be another good, it could be another good Titans defensive game. I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. Yeah.
We're gonna have to shock them. That's why I really think they're gonna utilize Taysom more. We're gonna have to utilize some trick plays. We're gonna have to get up early.
Yeah.
And we can't get off to a slow start.
I mean, the blueprint this year, right? So they lost to the Cardinals week 1, pretty bad. I think they were still figuring themselves out. And then, like you said, a shocking game was they lost to the Jets earlier in the season. So they are beatable. And some of these games that they've won have been kind of close. So I think the Saints, they can go to Tennessee and they can kind of shock them. But I'm gonna have to give the advantage as of right now. We'll see what changes between now and game time. But I give the Titans the advantage, especially from the defensive standpoint. But it should be competitive. But maybe the Saints go there and shock them. Like, we'll see. But enough about the Titans. Let's talk some Saints now. Saints won three of the last 4 games. They should be on a 4-game winning streak. Didn't happen.
They showed grit. They showed the fight. They showed a way to get the claw back in. I didn't know if that meant a lot to me because it just showed that we were down and it built confidence. Now Atlanta's not a defense.
Yeah, it did to me too, honestly, because when I saw the score at halftime, I was kind of depressed. But then after the game, I kind of sat back and I thought, I know there's no moral victories, right? But the way that we finished was very optimistic. It gave me a lot of hope that this team is going to fight and they're not going to, throw in the towel at any point this season. This just makes the Mark Ingram pickup all that much better, right? I mean, you have someone that you can slide in there that's familiar with the system. So as far as the drop off with Alvin, of course there's a drop off. Alvin has excelled and he's one of a kind. But if there's anyone obviously that's going to step in, I mean, he's the guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. And like I said, I think they're going to utilize some different things here. I could see Ty Montgomery playing a lot of having a big game, utilizing him in a way that they would utilize Alvin a ton on like certain plays. Yeah. I could see a lot
of
you
said Taysom. You said Taysom should see them
with Taysom. This is what Sean lives for. Sean loves the underdog. From Green Bay to Tampa Bay. They call it the bat game, right? Where like they're underdogs. Now, here's the deal. I don't know. This is a stat just to kind of share with you, but in the last few years, Peyton is 13-2 as underdog.
Oh, I didn't know that.
13-2 when they've been underdogs. So I think I'm a little bit more confident than you are. Because I just think that this is the type of game the Saints win.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with that record, you got to put your money on that. That's pretty good odds.
I don't think they're a better team. I think that they play better that game.
I think my feelings definitely changed the last few hours with the news that Alvin's out. I'm not going to lie. I saw this matchup after the Falcons lost, and I was like, this is a good opportunity to bounce back. It's tough to win 5 games in a row in the NFL. So I kind of see it as a trap game for the Titans. But this Alvin injury just has me rattled. So I'm still confident in us. And, it's just, and then it's not just Alvin though, right? Like we said, Gardner Johnson. So we're going to have big games from PJ, big games from Roby.
There's going to be a few times where we call the big shot, but we're going to have to chip away. This is going to be a Drew Brees, I believe, type of game where we're going to have to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards, play possession, keep the ball out of Tennessee's offense. Like I think that's what you can expect. I think we're going to drive the ball. We're going to have to play turnover free. But like I said, we're 13-2 as underdogs. I think that Cam Jordan has a good game. I think that Davenport has a good game. I think we stop the run. We make them, and Tannehill's one of the best game managers in the business.
He is. He is, and you also, I mean, on some level, you have to respect his legs too. So that's another element, But you look at the Saints' offense last week, and this hasn't really happened all season, right? Trevor spread the ball around a lot. You got Deontay with 6 receptions, Callaway with 3, Stills had a pair of receptions.
That was Deontay's okay. Like he just got probation, didn't he?
Did he? He got in trouble?
Yeah, he got in trouble.
I don't know, but that's something to watch because he's been kind of a steady force in that passing game, if you're going to call it that. I mean, it's pretty weak, but Ingram got 5 receptions. So they spread it around a little bit. We should see the same kind of attack. But this offensive line situation is kind of worrisome too, man, because
I get it, but I mean, look, here's the deal, Serge. How many times has Teron Armstead not played in the last 3 years? So it's worrisome.
Yeah.
It's not like we haven't. I mean, he misses 6 to 7 games a year. I mean, the dude never plays. So
what's the Pete situation? Is he out this week too?
I'm not sure. Maybe. But you know what? We have depth. And obviously Ramchak's going to be against Harold Landry, which I think is exciting.
I think he's out, dude. He's scheduled for season-ending surgery on his pectoral muscle.
I mean, hey, I can say the same thing about Andrews Pete. When's the last time we've had him?
Yeah.
It's like he's always hurt.
They're gonna try this guy Hurst again. They got Throckmorton. So, I mean, the Saints, like come draft day, the Saints love to draft linemen. So this is what they do, man. They plug away and they find a way to have this type of depth, these type of situations. But this one just seems like more injuries than we've ever had to face. I mean, just from like a talent standpoint, like we're thin in the talent department without our studs, bro. Like,
yeah, no, and I get that. But when it comes to the roster, we still have a lot of blue chips in our organization. And look, we're talking about the offensive line being hurt. Our offensive line has been hurt for a long time, and that's why we keep building up. Our young kids got to step up, right? Caesar, all of them kids, they've got to step up.
Yeah.
So this is why we drafted them. I think that, I love sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean does an excellent job of putting his people in a position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think that there's injuries, I think you're going to see short games. I think you're going to see screens. I think you're going to see things that build confidence.
Yeah.
I think we're going to play to our strengths.
I think so too, man. All right. Well, we kind of we touched a lot of bases right there. Do you want to give me a score prediction?
28-24 Saints.
Okay. 28-24 Saints. I'm going to go a little lower scoring than that. I'm going to go 24-23 Titans.
Nice. Cool.
24-23 Titans at home. This injuries, it's bad, man. It's so bad. But hopefully Peyton can come out and surprise us.
Yeah. Well, he's a Hall of Fame coach. That's what he's getting paid the big bucks for. But I think we find a way to win, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It'll be a big win, to keep us in contention. If we were to lose, man, what are your chances of is this are we still alive?
Yeah, I think we make the playoffs. I was going over this the other day, but let me just pull up my phone here. But when you really think about it, the NFC is just it's a silly division. You don't have a lot of contenders here, but let's just go ahead and take a look at the standings here. So let's go to the NFL. Let's go ahead and look at standings. So here's where I'm at, right? And I'm not being biased. This is what I was talking to with Matt about the other day. Is so let's go ahead and look at the NFC. So you have the NFC West. I believe in Arizona. I believe in the Rams. I don't believe in Seattle at 3-5. I don't believe in San Francisco at 3-5. You look at the NFC South. I don't believe in Carolina. and I possibly believe in Atlanta. The NFC North has Detroit, Chicago, and Minnesota. None of those teams are making the playoffs. Minnesota's ranked number 2 at 3 at 5. So you're gonna have one team in the NFC North make it, which is Green Bay. The NFC East, you only have one team that are making it, which is Dallas. Philadelphia is not going to make it. New York Giants aren't going to make it. Washington is not going to make it. So think about it. You have Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa, Arizona, and the Rams. Those are the 5 locks. The last 2 teams would have to go to either Seattle, New Orleans, Atlanta. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think that we benefit from playing in a really weak division.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Saints do make the playoffs. I just don't think we're a contender.
Yeah. Like I said last week, I think the Saints are good enough to make the playoffs. With a healthy Alvin, I think we're also good enough to win a playoff game. I think the Super Bowl is a little out of our reach this year. Last week, one of the big questions was I asked Vincent and Mark their thoughts about Odell Beckham. Does this pickup by the Rams and another question on that is, do you like the Saints move not going after him? But does this move make the Rams the Super Bowl favorite in the NFC?
No. Look, like here's the deal. We had 720. Now your boy's a genius, but we had $720,000 in calorie space. Okay, so we didn't win $1 million. I mean, Odell had a $500,000 signing bonus with a upwards to $4.3 million. You know, I think that we would have had to restructure and play with a lot of things. I'm not saying it was impossible, but it is what it is. Look, I think that the Rams were. I think you have like some legit contenders: Rams, Green Bay. That like we are top heavy here in the NFC, right? Like I'm not saying we have a lot of depth, but I think Dallas is for real. I think
that's what I thought, man. I picked a Cowboys Bills Super Bowl last week.
I wouldn't.
And then they went and lost to the Broncos.
I just think that I think the top 4, which is right, like I think Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams. I think those are the top 4. Now, I do think that, if I had to put my money on it, man, I'm taking Rodgers over Matt Stafford in the NFC Championship. Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury scares me a little bit, but I think that that offense is potent.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'd say a running game is potent too, man.
Yeah. What a good story from James Conner, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think that man, like here's where I'm at. I think we put too much pressure on it. I think that everybody's like, oh, it's Super Bowl or bust. It's just hard to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think that if I'm as a player, I hope Odell succeeds.
Yeah.
As a player, I hope he's better. I hope he finds a way to make money in the next year.
Yeah.
And I don't, hopefully he's probably not going to be a Ram next year. So
yeah. I mean, I think after that Broncos loss, I'm a little less confident in the Cowboys, but I'm still high on them.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's funny that like without the Bucks even playing, that somehow I feel more confident about them because they didn't even play last week. But based on what happened, the Packers lost, the Cowboys lost, the Bucks are a little bit more. They're a little bit more stable, So you can't bet against Brady. If it's a Bucks Rams NFC Championship game.
The Bucks.
Yeah, but Rams have their number, man.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think that.
But then, like last year, right? The Saints beat the Bucks twice, and then what happened, right? So maybe it's the same thing, right? Brady gets his revenge against Stafford in the NFC Championship game. All his pieces get healthy by then. He gets a couple cornerbacks. This whole thing is just resting, right? You got Antonio Brown. You're gonna have, if you don't have a healthy Gronk, if he can stand up, he's gonna play.
Yep.
So he should have all his pieces. It's gonna be interesting to see, man. But All right, bro. It was a good talking to you, man. It's a big game, Saints Titans this week. Look forward to seeing you on the fantasy side. How has how has it been the last couple of days, knowing that you were the MVP?
Yeah, look, I'm a two-time winner in this league. Last year was my worst year ever in fantasy football. Period. I don't ever want to be that guy. But last year was my worst year. I got promoted at my job, and I didn't put the time and energy into it. And I've been I think I had a good draft. I'm excited. Lamar let me down obviously this past week, but the kid I'm playing.
Yeah,
I don't know who I'm playing against, but Gasicki had 0, so that helps out a little bit.
yeah, that definitely helps. That helps.
So that helped out a little bit.
We should Matt should have that episode up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or yeah, so I'm gonna try and get this up and running. But it was good talking to you, man. We'll have another chat one of these weeks. For
Yeah.
sure.
For sure.
All right, bro.
All
Take
right.
care.